What's up, guys? I'm here to rant. So, I just finished watching the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which I kind of already figured was going to be disappointing, but since I had to be awake anyway, I figured I might as well watch it. And when I did watch it, I kind of just saw what I figured I would see, news about the flagship Nintendo titles like Zelda, Mario Kart, or just Mario in general, Kirby, and all that good stuff. And of course, Pokemon. Um, they showed off a lot of decent looking hardware, finally catching up to the modern age and stuff. But the one thing I did not see, which I am both surprised and also incredibly disappointed that I did not see, was ARMS news. I am a huge ARMS fan. I've been a fan of the series since it basically launched on the Nintendo Switch 1. And then when I finally was able to get my hands on the title, I played it non-stop. I grinded out multiple achievements throughout the game, collected all the ARMS, all that good stuff. I was super excited for the graphic novel, and we're going to get to that in a second. But Nintendo just seems to have this perceived weird animosity towards the series, and I'm not really sure what that is. Past a certain date, I want to say the 2019 year mark, they just stopped showing off the game in commercials and stuff. It was kind of just hidden behind certain game titles, whether it fit like visually or not, or just straight up not shown at all. They don't acknowledge the game's anniversary anymore. They stopped holding official events for the game, thus kind of like ending this like support for the series. And then even with quote unquote Smash Bros rep, this is before Min was a thing. We didn't have any sort of merch for them at all. Like we had merch, I want to say, in the year 1 and 2, and then after that, just nothing. No restocks of shirts and stuff, no lanyards, keychains, nothing that you can buy that is not fan made. So if you want ARMS merch, you either have to get a time machine and go way back to the Nintendo store when they actually were selling stuff, or you have to go on Etsy or something and get it from like an independent seller there. And in addition to that, they canceled the graphic novel for the series. So for those of you who aren't aware, ARMS was set to have a tie-in graphic novel with the video game to kind of like explain the lore of the world and everything that the game touches on but doesn't really go into too much detail about. The only thing that we have from this graphic novel is the first chapter, which is like a teaser for what's more to come. And this was supposed to be published by Dark Horse Comics. And that just kind of just fell to the wayside. We just had a long period of time with no news about the comic at all, and then we had to have it confirmed by one of the writers on social media that it actually had been canceled. So we didn't even get any official news from Nintendo themselves. We had to ask Dark Horse Comics, and we also had to ask, I guess somebody tracked down whoever the writer was, and they confirmed, it was been canceled. So no merch, no acknowledgement. The one thing that we were going to have, which was the graphic novel, is gone. We did get the Min amiibo, I want to say in 2023 or 2022, something like that. Remind you, this is several years after the game's release, and thankfully we had something official ARMS merch from Nintendo, but beyond that, we literally have nothing. And not a t-shirt, not a lanyard, not a keychain, nothing. No acknowledgement on the game's anniversary. And then with the Switch 2 coming out, a lot of us were hoping, well, ARMS was a launch title on the Switch 1 to show off the functionality of the Joy-Cons. And then you have all these Joy-Con updates with the Nintendo Switch 2. Perfect time to, revamp ARMS, give it a proper story mode, maybe show off some new features or accessibility or whatever. The Direct comes and goes. They show off all these launch titles and what's to come in the future for 2026 and 2027, I think. And there's no ARMS. There's not even a mention of ARMS. I think they showed ARMS briefly, like hidden behind other games again. Just talking about, I think, backwards compatibility. But beyond that, nothing. There's nothing. We don't even well, let me back up for a second. Even Splatoon 3 still gets Splatfest updates, which don't really cost them anything to run. They still have Switch servers going. So ARMS had an equivalent of this called Party Clashes, and they don't even do those anymore. Like, that could just be a monthly or bi-monthly event just to keep the fan base going. Like, it costs nothing. I'm not saying costs nothing, but it costs nothing generally just to make that an event and just have something for us to play. When you have older games who still have these events going on as well, like Mario Kart, like Splatoon 3, and yes, they are older at this point, but of course, ARMS isn't Splatoon 3 mostly because even back when ARMS launched and Splatoon 2 was the Star Child, they didn't really give it the same support that Splatoon 2 did. A reminder, this is a fighting game. With fighting games, you need to have some sort of like single player content, and I think Nintendo did what a lot of companies do, and they focus way too much on the esports competitive aspect without focusing on the casual experience. And not saying that there isn't a casual experience to be had with ARMS, because there definitely is. There are little mini games in the game, so it's not just all fighting. They did try to make something really unique and fun, and they did. It's a very unique and fun game. It is very positively reviewed, and it was successfully sold. I think as of speaking right now, it still has over 2 million units sold. It might even be more in 2025, like maybe 3 million. I don't know if that much, but I will probably still stick to the 2 million mark. But in general, they just have not supported this series, and it's super disappointing. It's super miserable, actually, to be an ARMS fan in 2025, because it's like you expect so little and just want so little from the series, from the game, from the company, and they just don't care. No happy birthday to ARMS, no ARMS merch, not a t-shirt, not a lanyard, not a keychain, but we did get an amiibo, so, you know, there's that. But, you know, hopefully, maybe down the line, we might get an ARMS update. That's me being sarcastic. I don't think we're going to get any ARMS anything. I think they've fully just given up on this series. I don't know why. They threw support into it. It proved to be a successful series. And even with the reviews of it, people saying that they wanted more. They wanted a story mode. They wanted, you know, things that stuff like the graphic novel would have given people, supplementary content. But for some reason or another, Nintendo just does not care. And that is why I am super disappointed with the Nintendo 2 Direct. I just had to get over here and rant for a second. I'm not really caring enough to organize my thoughts wherever. I'm just screaming at the clouds, basically. Hopefully in the future, which I don't have any faith in at this point, Nintendo actually does something with their brand new original IP that they have just neglected for years. But I'm not going to hold my breath, but I am going to sign off. So thank you for watching.